Someone said something to me at a dinner party that I genuinely could not stop thinking about for the rest of the night. A friend walked past my Zamioculcas, the most famous ZZ plant, glanced at it, and said, "Wait, did you not get that when you first moved in? It looks exactly the same." And she was right. 2 years. Same number of stalks. Not one new stem in 24 months. And I had genuinely never noticed. After everyone left, I stood in front of that plant for a long time, looking at it differently than ever before. I want to walk you through exactly what I found when I finally investigated, because it surprised me, and it is probably happening in a lot of stalled ZZ plants right now, including maybe yours. If your ZZ plant has been sitting there for a year, 2 years, even longer, without a single new stalk, that is not a reflection of you as a plant owner. ZZ plants have a reputation for being nearly indestructible, which is true, but that same toughness is exactly what lets them sit stalled for years without an obvious sign of distress. You are not missing something obvious. The plant is just very good at hiding the problem. Here is what I eventually learned. A ZZ plant does not send out new stalks the way most houseplants push new leaves from existing growth. All of that growth potential lives underground, in thick, round, almost potato-like structures called rhizomes. Think of each rhizome as a savings account. Every bit of energy the plant produces gets deposited into that account, and a new stalk only gets produced once the account has built up enough surplus to afford it. That account needs regular deposits from the soil around the rhizome, specifically from beneficial microbes that break down organic material into something the rhizome can absorb. In old potting mix that has not been refreshed in a long time, that microbial community shrinks. Fewer deposits come in, and a rhizome with no deposits arriving just sits there, indefinitely, waiting. That was exactly what was happening for 2 straight years, and the plant gave no indication anything was wrong. The existing stalks stayed glossy and upright. It simply did not have the surplus needed to produce something new. If you want to actually understand why your plants do what they do instead of following random tips, hit subscribe, because that's exactly what I try to do every week with new videos like this one. Now here is the mistake I almost made, and it came dangerously close to making things worse. My first instinct was to buy liquid fertilizer and feed the plant heavily. Pouring concentrated fertilizer onto soil that has become compacted over years does not solve the problem, because the soil immediately around the rhizomes has become dense and tightly packed. Whatever you pour on top mostly sits near the surface and never reaches where it needs to go. Once I understood that, the whole plan changed. It was not just about adding nutrients. It was about creating an actual path for those nutrients to travel, using a source gentle enough not to shock a plant untouched for so long. This is where something sitting in my kitchen trash can turn out to be exactly what I needed. Rice water, the cloudy liquid left over after rinsing uncooked rice, something most people pour straight down the drain. That cloudy rinse water carries a meaningful amount of starch, along with small traces of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium pulled from the surface of the rice grains. That starch becomes food for the beneficial microbes in your soil, the exact community that had shrunk down after 2 years of neglect. I rinsed 1 cup of plain, uncooked rice inside 2 cups of water, swishing it around for about 30 seconds until the water turned cloudy and pale. I set that water aside and let it sit out at room temperature for a full 24 hours before using it, giving the starch time to fully release. Making the rice water was the easy part. The part that made the real difference was dealing with that compacted soil first. I took a thin wooden skewer and gently pushed it into the soil in 3 or 4 spots around the edge of the pot, well away from the stalks, creating narrow channels down toward the rhizomes. Only then did I pour the rice water in slowly, right into those channels. I did this once every 3 weeks, not more often, since rice water left too frequently can start growing mold in the soil rather than helping anything. Between feedings, I made sure the plant was getting genuinely bright, indirect light, not just enough to survive, which is the trap with ZZ plants. They tolerate low light, so while it becomes easy to leave them somewhere genuinely too dim for years without noticing. I also gently felt around the base of the pot to check whether roots were circling tightly against the inside edge. Mine were. There was no physical room left for a new rhizome to expand into. I moved it into a pot just 2 inches wider, nothing dramatic, and that alone may have mattered just as much as anything else. Around day 7 to 10 after that first feeding, Check the soil right at the base of the plant, near an existing stalk. You are looking for the surface to look subtly disturbed, almost like something underneath is quietly pushing upward against it. For me, that first tiny disturbance appeared around day 9. I crouched next to that same pot my friend had commented on weeks earlier, staring at this barely visible bump like it was the most exciting thing I had seen all month. Within another week, a small pale green stalk had pushed fully up through the surface. If you try this and notice that same small disturbance, come back and leave a comment that says my ZZ plant is waking up. I read every single one. If this helped, hit subscribe, because in the next video I'm telling you about an orchid whose roots I found in a condition that genuinely alarmed me the first time I saw it, and what I did in the hours right after to bring the whole plant back.